Hi guys, I'm here to do a bit of a casual catch-up video about life and bookish stuff. So I've been really rubbish lately with filming videos and I thought I would just do a general catch-up video in the hopes that it will kickstart me into getting back to uploading and reading as much as I previously have, because I miss both those things. So excuse the initial awkwardness because I'm now going to talk about some life stuff, and I find it quite awkward sometimes talking about some life things that coming across as really formal, and I hate coming across as formal. Essentially what's been going on is work's been really busy, loads of people have left, some job opportunities became available for me to apply for promotion, I applied for promotion, had to do all the application form, had to do the interview and a presentation and a test, lots of anxiety, lots of stress, lots of time taken up in the evenings with applying for the job, got the job, now hopefully I can start reading again. That's what's happened. That's the last 3 months in a nutshell. So yeah, it's been fine. Like, I've not been super stressed in the evenings, but work's been really busy, and so when I've got home in the evenings I haven't had as much brain power to read, and I've been going to bed a lot earlier and getting 8 hours sleep a night, which I never usually do on a weeknight. Like, usually like 6 hours is a good amount for me because I utilise the other 2 hours reading. Haven't been doing that this year. So that's basically all of it in a nutshell. My job is the same, I'm in the same team of people. I work in research administration for a university, same team of people, just a promotion, so I'll be doing, have more responsibility than I did have previously. So there's that, and I start tomorrow. That is what's been going on. That was fairly informal, so that went well for me. So all of that's been going on, and it's just meant that I've not really read much, and I'm hoping, obviously I'm going to have to learn a lot of new things at work, and work's still going to be busy because we're still short-staffed, but I'm hoping that now at least the anxiety of me not really knowing what was happening in my future is gone, that I will be able to focus more of my time in the evenings on doing things for me that I enjoy. So there's all of that. So I just want to quickly mention here that I've had quite a few people just randomly in video comments, or people who've messaged me or said something to me on Twitter asking about Mothbox. So Mothbox is a business I started the year before last, towards the end of the year, which was like a bookish postal box, and I shut it down temporarily last summer, and I went back to work, and it was sort of it was a tryout of me seeing how it was going back to work and having a think about whether I wanted to continue Mothbox really. And I sort of didn't talk about it much on here because it was such an immediate thing that I was having constant thoughts about, that I didn't really feel like I wanted to talk about it, because I knew the decision had to be mine and mine alone, and so by talking about it on here then I would have got feedback, and you know, it probably would have just confused me more than anything. So in the long run I've decided I'm not going to carry on with Mothbox, so I'm sorry if that saddens any of you. I know lots of people were really supportive, and it was great, and it was lovely to see how supportive people were. I think I just realised, I mean, several things really. One is that I'm not particularly creative, and there was a place I wanted Mothbox to go that I don't have the capabilities of, like web page wise, art wise, lots of things, and I don't have the capabilities to do those things. I'm not that person. I've never been creative. I don't enjoy creating things. So that was sort of a bit of a roadblock. And then I also realised that as soon as I attach a sort of a job to reading, I instantly don't want to do it. So I'd select these books to try and read for the box and then instantly not want to read them. And then I'd find it really stressful if I started reading books for the box and didn't enjoy them. So I'd start thinking, God, I need to choose a book for the box. And then it would just make reading a stressful thing until I found a good one, which I just didn't enjoy. So I love subscription boxes, bookish ones. I think they're a wonderful thing. I'm glad they exist, but I won't be doing one any longer. It doesn't work for me. I'm much happier at work now doing something that's completely non-bookish, but then when I finish at 5 o'clock, coming home and doing things that are bookish that have no responsibility attached. So there's that. So that's what's been going on, and hence why I haven't really been mentioning work stuff a lot, because I've just been sort of ruminating on it all, and I'm so much happier now than I was this time last year when I was leaving work to do moth books. But you know, towards the end, when I decided to temporarily suspend it, I was so unhappy, like at home all the time by myself, and it wasn't for me. So I've made the right decision, and I'm glad to now be like in a set job, and to be, you know, happy and have it sort of separate from my my hobbies. So there's all of that waffle out of the way. How long did that take? I did that in under 6 minutes. Go me. So I've barely been reading. Now, I know I had my reading goals and I did a January update, and my two main reading goals, I keep saying this but in case you haven't heard, are to reduce my TBR by 9 books a month, and also to read every book I buy within 6 weeks of purchasing it or being sent it for review. I managed that in January, and I did a January update, and then I did film a February update, but I wasn't really happy with it, so I deleted it. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to just do a sort of February and March update at the end of March, and let you guys know how it's going. In brief, February went well in the respect that I got rid of the 9 with a lot of DNFs. March is shit, because I've only read 2 books, barely been reading, but I'm going to talk about that more in another video because I don't want to like make this video a ridiculous length. So I'm going to talk about that more somewhere else, and I'm just going to talk about you know, what challenges I've hit or haven't hit, and my thoughts on all that and what my plans are. So there's all that. So what I'm going to talk about now is what I am currently reading and what I'm thinking about picking up next. So I'm reading 2 books at the moment. I've been reading this one for a few weeks, and This Will Be My Undoing, Living at the Intersection of Black, Female and Feminist in White America by Morgan Jerkins. This is an essay collection. I'd say they're quite memoir essayist, if you know what I mean. Like I feel like there's some essay collections that are more detached from the author, and this isn't one of those. I'm really enjoying it, it's just I haven't been reading. So I'm about halfway through, so I'm going to try and finish this one tomorrow. I've had so many people rave about it, and they're really right. She's got a great voice, she's searingly honest. Some bits of this you feel like are a bit uncomfortable and perhaps no one but her should know them, but I admire the fact that she's putting that out there and putting it on a page. So yeah, really enjoying this, and I will talk about this more in a hauled, read, reviewed video when I've read more books. And then the other book I'm reading, which doesn't have a dust jacket on, is Heft by Liz Moore. So I read her book The Unseen World in 2016 and I adored it. It was one of my favourite reads of the year, and I still just feel really happy when I think about it, and remember loads of scenes in great detail. So I have been wanting to read this one for a while. I'm buddy reading this with Acacia Ives. I'm being an awful buddy reader, which I thought I would be a better buddy reader by now, which is why I said to Acacia, let's do the buddy read now. But that's because I thought that my interview would be earlier and all this would be over with earlier. Snow day meant that it got pushed back, so not doing so well. But I am going to, I've got about halfway through. I read a massive chunk yesterday, so I'm going to message Acacia in a little bit and update her. I'm really enjoying this. This is like a dual narrative, so it's about an older man. I don't think he's super old, like late middle age maybe, and he lives in a really big rambling house in New York, and he never leaves the house, and he's morbidly obese and he can't get up his stairs anymore, and a lady who he's been a pen pal with for many years, like 20 years I think, suddenly contacts him and says, I want to send my son to you, I want you to convince him he should go to university, or college as they call it in America. And the other narrative is her son, and this is just a character study. I really enjoy both the voices. I think she does different voices perfectly well. I often hear people complain about multiple narrative books that you can't tell the difference between the two. You really can. Even the way she uses punctuation is drastically different between the two narratives. So this was actually, I feel like this has sort of got me back into reading, because I've, like I say, not really been reading, and then I've had a lot of books that I've not enjoyed, and I'm really enjoying this one. So there's that. My leg is going pins and needlesy. Also, something else I'm loving is this jumper. Got it from H&M, and I love this bit because when I'm cold, it is, and it makes me feel warm. Although it's quite warm today, so I love these sort of clothes, but you know, gonna start running out of time to wear them because it's gonna get warmer. So there's all that stuff. So what else have I got? Today I treated myself to a few magazines. I keep buying magazines and then I don't read them and it's really bad, so I'm going to force myself to use these ones. So basically, Johnny and I have been eating a vegan diet for about 2 weeks and it's been going really, really well. But one of the things we knew when we wanted to try a vegan diet was that we were going to have to change the way we cook, because we basically don't cook anything from scratch, never made a sauce in my life, like always just buy a jar, like we're bad cooks. And so we knew that that was going to have to change if we were vegan, because obviously lots of pre-packaged stuff has dairy in. I've got a bit of cat fluff on me. Gone. So we've been trying, and actually it's been going a lot better than I thought it would. I thought it'd be really, really difficult, and actually it hasn't been that difficult. And it has made me actually want to try to cook and feel excited about it, which I never was before. So actually bought a few tubs of like ground spices and stuff, which to a lot of people isn't crazy. A lot of people have a whole cabinet of spices. Never owned a spice in my life, so that's very exciting. But to note, we're making the potato and bean curry from the Happy Pear cookbook, which Lauren kindly got me 2 Christmases ago and I still haven't used, so there you go, finally using it. And then I decided, Johnny's been saying for ages that we should plan our weekly meals, because we waste loads of food. Like, we're always going through the fridge and binning stuff. It's really, really bad. And popping in the shops all the time to get more food, just spend so much money on food for 2 people, it's ridiculous, and then waste a lot. So I popped in Waterstones and found this little weekly meal planner. So I'm going to start using this. It's pretty cool because it's already like, I'm not very creative, as I said, so I like the fact that it's just done for me. I may find that this isn't like big enough and there isn't enough space. But if I do find that, then I will get a notebook. What I like about it is you write your little shopping list here, and then this is perforated here, so you can rip it off. And if you are just going to the actual shops rather than doing your food shopping online, you can carry the shopping list with you, which I think is a pretty good idea. So I'm really happy about that, and I'm definitely going to start using that. And then I thought, well, I have one vegan vegetarian cookbook at home, but I would like some more ideas, and also because I'm not a very good cook, I'd like some sort of simple ideas. So I decided to have a little look at some magazines, and I bought 2. So firstly I bought Vegan Life, and I'm really excited about this one particularly because it's not just recipes, it's like loads of articles on, so for example, 10 facts about chickens and eggs, debate about animal products in medicine, and then there's a whole article on bullfighting. So yeah, I want to sort of read more about the environment and animals and things like that. And then yeah, it's really good. It's got articles on cleaning products and all stuff like that, so not just focused on food, which I'm excited about learning more. And then these 2 were a real bargain. This is usually a magazine you buy by itself, but as a one-off you got this one with it, which is very exciting. So this one I think is vegetarian but with lots of vegan recipes, I think. So that's got a real mixture of stuff in it, but this is the free one, which I'm more excited about. This is 100+ plant-based recipes for all the family, and it's amazing. I was just looking at the breakfast section. I'm really not into breakfast, never have been, but I love all these like smoothie bowls people make and granola bowls, and just they look delightful, and I just know I'd never be able to do it, or I'm convinced I wouldn't be able to. But this makes it seem really doable. And there's one thing I do want to make, which doesn't even look hard, so I really need to stop being so pathetic, is like an apple and pistachio spiced bircher bowl. Let me try and find it. There you go. It looks amazing, and you just put it in the fridge overnight and then just add your toppings the next day. So I can't wait for this. And these recipes are from a mixture of loads of different cookbooks, so that's cool, because then if I find that there's a cookbook that keeps popping up that I like the recipes of, then I can get the cookbook. So there's those, which I was super excited about. And then whilst I was in there, and this is one of those things where I'm like a glutton for punishment, because I buy magazines and I don't read them, they just sit there, it's really bad. And then I still buy more, so I shouldn't really. But I bought O Comely and Womankind, and I enjoyed both of them. Oh. But I found that they weren't quite what I wanted. I feel like I want more like articles, like long form articles that really delve into a subject. So I picked up New Humanist, A Rational Approach to the Modern World. I think this is quarterly, and it's just got loads of articles on the world and politics and various things. So examples are One of the cover stories is around the world environmental activists are coming up to under attack, and there's an article on prisons and the ethics of prisons. There's an article on the myths and misconceptions about people and pets, looking for a way back from sectarianism in Iraq. There's articles on history, music, literature, television, books, just loads of stuff. And I feel like, I'm not sure because I really haven't looked into this at all, but I like the sound of the articles they had in it. So do let me know if you've read this, and if you enjoy it, or if not, what you would recommend instead. Because yeah, I considered The Atlantic because I hear so many people talk about The Atlantic, but I feel like The Atlantic is a very American focused view, and that isn't necessarily what I want. So I don't know if this is, I think this might be British, I don't know. So there's that. So there's all those things. And the only other thing I wanted to say is maybe just show you what I'm thinking of reading next. So I go to work for Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and then we're very lucky where I work we get 6 days off for Easter, which is amazing. So I have not got many plans. I'm like seeing family a little bit, yeah, seeing family a couple of times and friends and stuff, but not like super busy at all. So I'm planning on having 6 days filled with reading and videoing and things like that. And the books I'm sort of drawn to the most to pick up next, I've wanted to read this for months, so I'm just going to pick it up, and that's The Poisonwood Bible by Barbara Kingsolver. It's a bit of a chunky book, but I really feel like reading a chunky book, and now it's getting a bit sunnier here, I think this might be the right time to pick this one up. And then I have been sent a couple of non-fiction books recently, so I don't do hauls anymore, but I'll show you these quickly just because I feel like reading them next. So one is British on Race, Identity and Belonging by Afi Wahesh, probably butchered her name. I listened to a podcast she was on, might have been the Vintage podcast. I will link it down below, and it was so interesting and it made me really want to pick the book up, so I requested a copy of this one. And then the publisher contacted me about this one a few days ago, and I thought it sounded amazing, so I agreed to be sent it. And I read the prologue, and I love her voice, so I think I'm going to love this one. This is a memoir called Educator by Tara Westover, and I thought this was a novel. I'd seen it dotted around, but no, it's a memoir, and it's about a young woman who grew up in, let me get this right, she grew up preparing for the end of days. And her family, basically she lived in, let me get the right information for you. She grew up in rural Idaho with a radical survivalist father who was opposed to government interference in the lives of his family. That's way better put than I'd have ever said it. Basically, she didn't go to school until she was like 17, and she was never registered, her birth was never registered. And she taught herself, and she eventually got a scholarship to both Harvard and Cambridge, and she's now like 27, 28, and she's brought this memoir out. And she's entirely, you know, not entirely self-taught now, because obviously she has gone to, I think, Cambridge, but she was very self-taught, and the way she writes is beautiful, and the descriptions of the landscape in the prologue were stunning. And it says on the jacket that it's quite interesting because it's a memoir written while she's still in the midst of all this turmoil. So lots of memoirs are once the person's taken a step back from what's happened, but this is still all ongoing. I believe she's still in you know, turmoil about whether to continue talking to her family or what's going on with that. So I think I'm really going to love this one because I find things like this really interesting and always mean to read more memoirs, never do. So there's that. So yeah, those are my reading plans. Oh my god, I've got such bad pins and needles in my foot now. So this is the sort of thing people never usually mention, but it really does happen when you sit on the floor to film like I do. Another thing is I've been enjoying a podcast lately, a bookish one, that's really made me want to get back into reading, because as I said, I haven't really been reading, and I love when I get into podcasts that make me want to get back to books. And it's one that David from The Poptimist mentioned, and it's called So Many Damn Books. I think that's what it's called. And he mentioned it because they do episodes on the Tournament of Books. So I went over to listen to the episodes on that, and then I thought, oh, I'll try out some of their other episodes, and I adore them. I've listened to like loads in the last couple of days. What they do is they have an author come on talking about their recent book, but then the author also recommends one of their favourite books, and the two guys who run the podcast read the book beforehand. So there's like an in-depth non-spoilery discussion about the author's own book, and then an in-depth non-spoilery discussion about the book they've all read, and they also talk about what they've recently been reading or recently bought book-wise. And they're really funny. The way they talk about books I love, and they just have such amazing discussions. And it's been such a battle not to allow myself to buy more books, because I listened to an episode where they talk to the author of Marlene. She's called Julie Buntin, and she spoke about her own book, but then she bought a book on called Woman Number 17. I can't remember the author's name, so sorry about that, but I'm sure I'll put a picture up somewhere. And I always wanted to read her book and haven't got around to it yet, but I thought Woman Number 17 sounded amazing and I hadn't heard of it, so I was desperate to go and buy those two. And then her husband, Gabe Habash, was on an episode a couple of months later, and he wrote Stephen Florida, which came out last year in the US, and I am so intrigued by. Never usually read books about men, and it's a hyper-masculine book about a wrestler, I believe, but it sounds like the sort of book I could really love. And he spoke about an Iris Murdoch book, which I've been meaning to read her books, and it sounded amazing. So I really wanted to buy all of those four. I may crumble and do it just to sort of treat myself, but I'm trying to be good, so we shall see. Let me know if you think I should crumble and just buy them all. So yeah, there is that. So I do really recommend the podcast if you like hearing non-spoilery discussions about books. It's excellent. So yeah, those are all the things I wanted to chat about. It's really rambly and random, but yeah, hope you're all well. Let me know what you've been reading, what's been going on in your life. Feel free to recommend me more magazines or podcasts or books or anything. I love recommendations. So yeah, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.